living in harmony with big cats, his attempts to protect them from big hunters, and the hijinks which ensue when his family arrives at his lion-filled house when he's away. Yo, expert concept for a movie right there. They were in Mozambique, they saw a house with a bunch of lions in it, and they were like, what if there was a guy in there? No, really, I think this would be a genius movie idea. There's a bunch of lions over there, but what if one of the lions was just some guy? Oh. They're cheering for me. Thank you guys. It actually is a genius idea. Oh, no, fuck, not again, no! So with this expert concept, they decided, you know what, this is so good, we have to risk untold amounts of human life to make this happen. Marshall and Hedren decided the film would be set in Africa, but shot in California, and in 1971 started to raise lion cubs at their 3-bedroom house in Sherman Oaks. A lot of red flags there as well. Of course, having lions in your house, not good. The fact that it goes on to mention they were also raising children at the time, even worse. The fact that the article uses the term raising the lion cubs instead of like, I don't know, training the lion cubs is definitely not a good sign. Like, these are wild animals. You can't just raise them like a kid. So I guess they like started planning this movie way ahead of filming it. They bought like baby lions and then raised them up until they were adults. This is like that movie Boyhood, but instead of if the boy grew up to be a man, he grew up to be an apex predator hungry for human flesh. If in the 3rd act of the movie, the boy just grows like a row of razor sharp teeth and a taste for human blood. The couple believed that raising both the big cats and their own offspring under the same roof would minimize the risk of cast members being attacked when shooting began on the film. This makes it sound like they were like, okay, we'll have plenty of time to make sure they're not attacking people by the time the film shoot starts happening, because they'll get it all out of their system when we're raising them with our children. By the time we get to the film shoot, they're gonna be so tired of attacking humans, dude, trust me. Marshall and Hedren cast themselves in the movie alongside 3 of their children, John's brother Jerry, and Hedren's daughter Melanie Griffith, the future star of Working Girl, and the future mother of 50 Shades of Grey actress Dakota Johnson. That's the 50 Shades of Grey tie-in? Wait. Okay, so this article is called 50 Shades of Grr because Dakota Johnson, who was in 50 Shades of Grey, her mom was in the movie. I feel like that couldn't have anything less to do with the movie. This whole story is insane enough on its own. You didn't need to like reach for some tie-in with a recognizable name. I'm just so confused how raising them in their home would minimize the attacks on set. They're acting like these are kids. Like, well, we gotta keep them off the streets, you know? We gotta make sure they have a good home life so they're not lashing out in school or at work. We gotta keep them in extracurricular activities, keep them off drugs, and they'll be fine. Their insatiable thirst for blood will be cured. They're lions. They could have been raised by Mary Poppins, and they would still kill her in her sleep. Also, I just really don't think that raising them in a house is properly gonna prepare them to not attack crew members. They're like, well, if we just raise them in a really peaceful home environment, that will perfectly equip them to deal with being on set of a movie. They're gonna be used to just like laying around at home with small children, so when we bring them on set, we've got fucking camera cranes, pyrotechnics, giant ass light stands, just like a ton of adults. They're gonna be cool with that. So raising them under the same roof would minimize the risk of cast members being attacked when shooting began on the film, which was to be Noel Marshall's first, and as it turned out last, movie as director. Huh, that's kind of weird. I can't imagine why that would be. If this sounds absolutely insane to you, it does, then John Marshall is not about to disagree. In hindsight, I know how stupid it was to do this film. I am amazed no one died. That quote kind of makes it sound like they think they got away with something, like, phew, that was close. No, dude, 70 people were sent to the hospital. That wasn't a close one, it was one. He's like, oh shoot, that could have been really bad. Meanwhile, there's like 70 bodies writhing in pain on the ground behind him. Yeah, someone could have gotten seriously hurt. Someone did. Also, can we just appreciate how crazy Hollywood used to be? These are just like 2 people that were like, we're gonna make a movie. We're gonna direct it, and we're gonna star in it, and our kids are gonna star in it, and fuck it, we'll raise lions in our house while we're doing it too. Is this still possible? Is this still something you could do? Just get a friend together and just make a movie about lions? How much money did this cost? Los Angeles in the 1970s was an infamously crazy place. It sounds like it did. But it wasn't crazy enough that people could keep a pride of lions in a residential dysfunctional neighborhood. It sounds like it was. After an animal control officer gave Marshall 24 hours to de-big cat his house, he bought property in Santa Clarita for the lions, and the jaw-dropping array of other wild animals with which he intended to populate his movie. Okay, here's a quote from their kid, John. I was about 15 when I said, "Why do we have tigers? Because tigers aren't in Africa, where the movie takes place." I was the voice of reason. I would say, "Why do we have mountain lions? Those are from North America." Everyone would go, "That's a stupid question." Okay, I love that the only person asking any questions is their child who's 15. But even still though, I feel like he's not really seeing the big picture. Like, he's got the right start. He's asking questions, but his questions are like, wait a minute, this isn't scientifically accurate. Why do we have tigers when the movie takes place in Africa? When he should be asking, wait, why am I a child living in a house with a bunch of wild cats? Why am I growing up in a literal pride of lions? But Marshall discovered there were side benefits to keeping big cats, particularly when it came to meeting members of the opposite sex. Okay, I like where this is going. I had this tiger that I absolutely loved called Nicky. I would take him down to the local luncheon bar place, and girls would go, "Oh my god! Oh fuck! What the hell? The fuck is wrong with you? Get that out of here!" No, they would say, "Oh my god, can I play with your tiger?" And I'd say, "Well, not right now, but if you give me your phone number." Okay, holy shit, dude, LA really did used to be a crazy place. They weren't kidding. I feel like they undersold it. They were like, LA's crazy, but not raise lions in your house crazy. Take a tiger to lunch crazy though? It kinda was. Yeah. They're like, look, you can be friends with tigers, you just can't live with them. That's where we draw the line. You can bring them out and about, but when you're done with him, do not bring him back in your house. You just gotta let that fool roam the streets, baby. Principal photography on Roar started on October 1st, 1976 at Santa Clarita. By this point, the animal cast numbered 132 lions, tigers, leopards, cougars, and jaguars, as well as a 10,000-pound bull elephant named Timbo. I kind of feel like it's not for the movie anymore. I feel like these people just have a problem. These people are hoarders, but instead of not throwing away like their Chipotle wrappers, they're not relinquishing their monkeys and lions. I feel like this is turning into a villain origin story. The city told him he can't have that many animals one time, and he was like, fuck it, you know what? Fine. I won't have 5 lions anymore. I'll have 130 wild animals on a compound. I swear to God, if the city tries to crack down on him one more time, he's gonna like lead his animal army to town hall and take the mayor hostage. The shoot was scheduled to last 6 months, but stretched to 3 years thanks partly to periodic shutdowns as Noel Marshall hustled to finance a budget which ultimately ballooned to $17 million. Okay, that would be $88 million today. Where did they get all of this money? That's what I want to know. It said that one of them was like an agent and the other one was an actor. Why have I never heard of either of them? At other times, shooting was halted so that the film's actors could recover from the multitude of injuries they received at the hands, well, paws of their animal counterparts. Dude, fuck off. People were hurt, man. This is no time for jokes. And I understand that it's been like 50 years, and I also understand that I'm making jokes about it too. But that's enough, all right? We've had our fun. And you know what? I guess this article has had its fun because it then immediately starts going into graphic detail about the injuries that happened on this movie. In Hedren's 1985 book about the making of the film, The Cats of Shambhala, the actress recalls that she hoped the movie would show the possibilities of human big cat relationships. In fact, the movie's production revealed the dangers inherent in those relationships. Hedren herself developed gangrene after Timbo crushed her leg between his trunk and tusk. Griffith was clawed in the face. John Marshall was sent to the hospital following an incident in which a lion decided to treat his head like a chew toy. This was a child, right? Isn't John Marshall the one that was 15? This is so crazy. It's honestly for the best that CGI was invented so that stuff like this doesn't happen anymore. Can you imagine if they had to film the Avengers without CGI and they had to get a real Thanos? That guy would have been up to no good the entire time. You've heard how much of a nightmare Jared Leto is on set? Wait until you get a real life Thanos on set. The kind of on-set pranks a Thanos would pull. 70 hospital visits, how about 4 billion? How about half the earth? Most dramatically, the film's director of photography, Jean Debon, there's absolutely no way I pronounced that correctly. Jan Debon needed 120 stitches after being essentially scalped by a lioness. I got him on the way to the hospital and I went into the office and said, okay, we need to get a DP, says John, because I figured that DP was not coming back. I can't get over how like jovial they all sound. It literally sounds like a sitcom. Even every like first-hand account is like, you're gonna want to see this. Well, I guess we're gonna need a new DP after that one. Lions, personally, I'm not a big fan. I just don't get what the big deal is. Uh-oh, there's one right behind me, isn't there? The stress of making the film terminally damaged the relationship between Hedra and Noel Marshall. The couple would divorce in 1982. No! Not Tippi Hedren and Noel Marshall! Another power couple bites the dust. Their power was destruction. Their power was immense destruction. I was rooting for them. Guess true love really doesn't exist. Fuck! Stressful is kind, says John. We had floods, we had fires, every one of us wound up in the hospital. There were times when we would get together as a family